Hi, this is Kathy Ganatic. Today I'm going to unpack Aries II, the second decan of Aries. It's part of a year-long series I'm doing on the 36 decans of the zodiac. You'll find a link below to an introduction to the series. You'll also find a link to my website where you can find a transcript of today's recording. Like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. It helps folks find the series. So Aries II. One of the best ways to understand what a decan is about is to understand what planet rules it. For Aries II, it's the sun under two different systems, right? There's two different systems that explore the decans. They both agree that the sun is the planet for this decan. In addition, the sun is in its exaltation degree in this part of the zodiac. Exaltation just means that the sun is held on high here, has extra special power. And so it adds or doubles down on the idea that the sun is, or the symbolic meaning of the sun is very important to understanding this 10 degrees of the zodiac. So what is the sun symbolically? Well, we can understand the meaning of the sun from a few different aspects. First, you can think about the sun from an astronomical standpoint. It is the figure in the sky that all the other planets revolve around, right? So it's this centering force in our life, the centering force of consciousness, as Carl Jung spoke of. And then we can look from the standpoint of us as human beings here on Earth. How do we experience the sun in our everyday life? If you think about it, when we wake up every day, there's this expectation, for good reason, that the sun is going to rise in the east and set in the west. Day after day, we get up and we have this experience. So there's a quality of the sun that it carries symbolically a meaning of consistency and stability, what is known, what we can expect, what we can rely upon. And so you can kind of shift that into another symbolic understanding of the sun, which is it has to do with the leaders, these forces in our life that sometimes we want to follow because they inspire us. Aries is a fire sign. All fire signs have to do with inspiration. So you can fold that in as well. And then we also have Aries is a cardinal sign. Cardinal signs like to start things. So you put all that together, and something about this second decan of Aries can have to do with people who like to start things, who inspire us, who lead us, who light the path for us. But then we can also add in the fact that this is the second decan of Aries, right? The second decan of Aries is connected with the Three of Wands in tarot. Here's an image of the Three of Wands. And so now we can bring in addition to the idea of the sun and this consistent, stable force in our life that shines our way and helps us grow, right? Sun is also related to photosynthesis, which is what makes life grow, right? But then we add in the number 3, right? When from an esoteric standpoint, the number 3 has to do with expansion. We go from the number 2, which involves a certain polarity in life, me versus you, two opposing positions. And then when the 3rd is introduced, there's an expansion and a growth that happens, an occupying of space. We can also take the number 3 from the Kabbalah, and it is the which represents Bina, or understanding. The number 3 and Bina and understanding have to do with intuition. It's a feminine number. Bina is a feminine part of the Kabbalah. And so there's a receptive growth quality that enters into all of this energy of the sun. And so here we see in the image from Rider-Waite Tarot, Alexander the Great, and he's standing on a piece of land. He's immersed in life. He's occupying space, and he's sending ships out onto the water. You can see that in the background. There are ships going out to explore the rest of the world and bring information back, right? Bring not just information, but goods. And so there's this quality, there's a relational quality to the three that has to do with both occupying our own space, but then expanding to something new. This is where we really get the vibe for this Aries two, not only, excuse me, Aries two, that it's not only about um, consciousness, but it's about expanding consciousness, bringing new things into the world, and that it has, some people talk about Aries 2 energy as being about achievement because there is something about people with planets in this sign where they can achieve a lot of things in the world. But another way to look at it that's less patriarchal, that's less about conquering the world, is that it's about abundance and about the abundance that comes with growth and with channeling your creative energy in the world to combine it to create something new, receiving the light of the sun and growing as a result. So people with planets in this part of Aries can tend to be people that have a courageous stance toward their creativity, that they're willing to open up to new ideas and form something new out of it and bring it out into the world. So, for example, Lin-Manuel Miranda, excuse me if I pronounced the name wrong, who created Hamilton, the musical, has his rising sign in Aries too. And so there's this quality, if you think about that musical, he took something old and known, which was the story of, or one of the stories of the creation of the United States. It's a sad story at the moment, unfortunately, and also interestingly that I'm talking about this or that this came up right now, given that we're in a period where there seems to be a destructive force entering around our institutions. Anyway, he took that story and he made it something new and communicated and brought in and integrated new ideas from consciousness, right? He didn't just sit with what is known, but he led to expand some of the old ideas of what it meant to be a United States citizen into something much larger, right? And also, you can look at Ram Dass, who he's a famous mystical spiritual figure. And maybe mystical isn't quite right, but he certainly had a great deal of consciousness and became a spiritual leader. He was a Harvard professor who ended up working with psychedelics with Timothy Leary. And through all of his psychedelic experiences and expanding his consciousness, he ended up leaving Harvard. I think he quit or got fired because he refused to go along with the ordinary, instead wanted to light his own way in the world around what consciousness is. And Ram Dass has his son with Uranus in this part of Aries, in Aries too. And Uranus is a planet that has to do with breaking free, breaking out of old ideas, right? So you can really see the solar nature of Aries here, becoming a leader in the area of expanding consciousness. And give me one sec, just gonna look at my notes and see. Oh yeah, there was one last thing that I wanted to add as we sit and explore this part of Aries too, and the idea of expanding our consciousness and relating to the world in an open way that might lead to new understandings coming into the world. And there's a song by the Grateful Dead that this part of Aries made me think of, and it's called Ripple. And it has to do with that idea of leadership, right? Because a lot of people, when they talk about this decan, because the sun can have to do with leadership, will talk about people that are sovereign, meaning kind of like king or queen of their life. But another way to think of leadership and how we engage with the light of the sun and expanding our consciousness is to think about the way in which leaders need to follow. So there's a line in that song where it goes, oh, let's see, he who leads must follow, but if you fall alone. And I think this brings in the courageous nature of what's required to be someone who goes out and doesn't accept the limited nature of consciousness, but instead, like Lin-Manuel Miranda or like Ram Dass, who actually struggles with the meaning of the consciousness that is and allows themselves to be opened up and bring some new idea into the world around something that has been fixed, right? To go off on this path and engage with the light of the sun and do the alchemical process that's involved in grappling with the meaning of what is known already requires a certain amount of courage. And courage is always something that Aries is associated with because it starts things. It is in general, in addition to the decan being ruled by the sun, right? The sign itself is ruled by Mars. And so you have to add in that Mars-like quality of being willing to take a risk when you talk about being a leader in this part of your life. It's not like the sun of Leo, which is about, holding forth. This is the sun in the sign of Aries. This is the sun quality decan in the sign of Aries. So remember to bring that in as well, that courage is required, and people with this have this ability, or with this energy have this ability to really stand in their own position, know who they are, stand in their integrity, and bring their own light out into the world. So I hope this was helpful. Again, if you enjoyed, like and subscribe, check out my introductory video, and keep an eye out for Aries 3, which will be coming in about 10 days. Have a great day.